abs are not made in the kitchen. They're made in utero. You don't
have them.
You don't have to make them in the kitchen in your stove. And I'm cooking some abs.
I'm cooking up abs today.
You already have abs. We're not making them anywhere. We're not making them in the gym. We're not making them in the kitchen. Your mama made them for you. The big question is this. In a world of fake Instagram models and fad diets, how do real people achieve their fitness goals? We are an army of hardworking women changing their lives through fitness and health. Wherever you are at on your journey, we have the answers to how to make working out and eating well a part of your life. Join us in changing the dialogue for women everywhere. Welcome to the Thick Thighs Save Lives podcast.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Thick Thighs Save Lives podcast. I'm Kelsey.
I'm Rachel.
And we have a great episode.
Oh my God, you didn't.
I know, but as soon as I thought about it, because we're just fired up about this, so...
See, this is what
I know it's going to be awesome.
Every time I was fired up about it, and you guys took me...
You know why? I think it's because you said awesome twice. It was
This
like, we have an awesome.
It
Awesome is like a really descriptive word. You don't have to awesome it.
Well, how about if I'm that excited? How come you get to be excited and I never get to be excited?
I live there.
It's going to be awesome, I think.
Before we get into our awesome episode,
Whoa, even more awesome news.
Yeah, you can't even add a third because that would just get weird. We have some big news.
Oh my God. Friday's
coming.
It's coming, and it is going to be super exciting for CBG. Big day for us as we are releasing a secret legging.
We've kept it a secret for this long.
I can't hold it anymore. I can't hold it in. Everywhere I go, I'm like, hey, you want to know the secret legging? Hey, you want to know? I'm in Target. They're like, what are you
talking about?
It's so exciting, though.
And you won't know what they are until Friday.
We're just going to lay it on. It's like, here's the new secret legging release.
Yeah.
And you won't know anything about them till then. But the most exciting thing about this episode is that you're going to get a discount code for those secret leggings.
Yes.
Inside this episode. It's the greatest. It's awesome.
So in the middle of the episode, we're going to
give you... Or in the end, or in the beginning.
Or right now.
You don't even know.
You don't even know.
We're
going to give you the secret discount code and tell you what it is. So
not the leggings.
We won't tell you what the leggings are, but we're going to tell you what the discount code is.
Well, I want to, though, but I won't.
We're going to try so hard.
The lady at Target knows, but I can't tell you. I'm sorry.
You're like, hey, lady. Guess what, lady? She's like, you need to leave, ma'am.
Stop. So today's episode is not only going to include a discount code for our secret leggings coming out on Friday, but it is also going to be about one of the most commonly asked topics that we get pretty much, I would say, on the daily.
Yeah, I think it's a sought after topic in the fitness industry that a lot of ladies are hoping to hear the secret for. This is a secret episode.
Wow, it really is.
Yeah, they're hoping to hear the secret to abs.
How you get your abs.
That's what's the secret? What do I drink?
Yeah.
What do I do? What kind of ab exercises?
Mm-hmm. And whenever, and I think why the abs thing has just taken over every part of everybody's mind. And when they start a fitness goal, often that's on the, when I talk to new athletes,
yep,
especially women, no, men too. I think that it's just a sexy muscle, a sexy muscle group.
Yep.
I think that a lot of new athletes especially have on their wish list, why are you starting this? Somewhere on there, you hear them talk about, I'd really like to be able to see my abs or have some visible abs and that's probably one of the most common things we see. And one of the most common questions I'm asked is, how do you get those? Hey, where'd you get those? Did you buy those at Target?
Yeah, I think
Were they on sale?
I think no. And The thing about the abs question is it's not, no one's ever saying like, hey, where's those obliques from? Where'd you get all those muscles to protect your spine?
Those are not sexy. The spine protectors are not as sexy for some reason.
You know what? They should be.
They really should.
That's the sexiest thing you can do is protect your spine. But the ab muscles that are the sought after are the 6 ones in the front.
Just those.
I know, because that's not, your abs or your core. You know what I mean? Like there's many more core muscles all in there, but those 6.
Just those 6. I just want
to build those up.
You can ask the question, how do I get visible abs? And the most common answer that will come back is abs are made in the kitchen. And this is not true.
Or 80%.
Oh my God,
we give a percentage.
Statistics.
So you said 80% diet, 20% exercise. And we're just sitting there like, what?
I'm sorry. First of all, think about how ridiculous it is to think that there's a percentage that makes a muscle group visible. Now, when we, of course, the abs are a super sexy thing and they sort of are almost like a fitness symbol. Yes. Right? Like if nobody knows if you're fit or not, and then you pull up your shirt and you have 6 abs, everyone's like, oh,
you fit.
Oh, you fit. You haven't done anything. You haven't
to prove your fitness.
Nothing to prove your fitness at all. We don't even know if you can do a push-up or run a mile, but if you have abs, you have reached the pinnacle of fitness. And that, I think, it needs to be busted up right here now, that visible abs do not equal fitness. And not visible abs do not equal not fit. It's just not true. I understand the aesthetic need or the aesthetic goal for having, a low body fat percentage and having your muscles show, especially those abdominals. But the abdominals are not different than any other muscle group in your body. They're just muscles. They're not a magical secret legging coming out on Friday. They're not even close to that special. They're just 6 regular muscles that are the same as the gazillions of other muscles in your body. They aren't different. They don't work differently, and they don't develop differently.
I think that the main thing here I know I get nervous about like telling everyone is like the gold star for fitness is not to have a 6-pack. Like that isn't, I think that a lot of people say like, well, what do you mean? Everyone I know that is super fit has a 6-pack. That might be a byproduct, but this isn't, we have to kind of take away this having a 6-pack being the gold star fitness. You've reached it. You're pretty fit now. Like that's just not how it works. And I think that like a lot of people are like, oh no, then how do we tell?
Well, how much you deadlift, how fast you run a mile, how many pull-ups you can do. I mean, there's a number of ways to tell if you're fit. I wouldn't go off of abs as being one of them, to be honest, but I'll tell you what, extremely fit people that can deadlift a lot of weight, that can do a lot of pull-ups, that can run a fast mile, those people have visible abs.
Yeah.
So it wasn't their goal,
yeah,
but it's a byproduct. It's just like everything else. And when we talk about the abs being just the same as everything else, one thing I often say when people say like, well, abs are made in the kitchen, I often challenge them that like, well, did you make your quads in the kitchen?
Your biceps?
Were biceps made in the kitchen? I mean, none of that makes any sense. And it's almost laughable when you hear it. Well, you ask someone how to build up your quads and they say, well, sorry, sweetheart, quads are made in the kitchen. Like, no one would say that to you. Everyone would say, do some squats, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's weird that abs get put in this separate category. Like they don't have any basis on exercise whatsoever, that it's all just what you're eating. That's not true. They're just like your quads. They're just like your biceps. Any muscle in your body is underdeveloped or has a bunch of stuff covering it. It's not going to show.
So I think talking about them being like any other muscle, we have to look at how we're training those muscles and how we're seeing them as an all-encompassing look at fitness. So we can't spot train fat away. So we don't say like, hey, I'm just going to work my biceps. The muscle is getting bigger. And we've talked about this in a past episode. The muscle is getting bigger, but it's being covered by a layer of fat. So I'm still hoping to see the definition there. The same thing with the abs is we can work that muscle group and then we have to look at, are you going to be able to see it? So we can develop that muscle group the same, just like any other muscle. And that isn't just doing a bunch of crunches, which is actually truth be told, that's like the worst way to work your abdominal muscles.
Absolutely.
Because you're going in a lot of flexion and extension and not specifically targeting that muscle group that you're even looking for. Looking at if we can build up a muscle group and then look to reduce fat covering it.
So we want the both of those things happening at the same time. And that's another reason why sitting there doing 1,000 crunches isn't getting you any closer. Not only can you not fat reduce it by spot training, but also you're not getting a big bang for your buck. Your heart rate's not up. Mm-hmm. You're not metabolically working at an intense level at all. And
I think the big thing with that too is that like when she says you're not metabolically working, so like you got a good workout in this like half hour, 45 minutes or whatever, but if you don't increase your heart rate, if you're not looking at your metabolic conditioning, if you're not working out to speed up your metabolism, your body's not working for the rest of the day. So that's really where you get the most bang for your buck is if you train your body to a place where you have in this hour made sure that your metabolism is fired up, it's working, it knows, your body is firing
burn
on
calories
all cylinders
for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Right. Not for that one 30-minute to 40-minute time spot in your day. That's really not the big picture.
Yeah, that's not where all the work is being done. And I think that that's an easier place for us to kind of wrap our head around because all of the work isn't going to be done in this 45 to an hour session, right? Like you have the rest of the day. So what is your body doing for the rest of the day to make sure that you're feeding that metabolism, that you're working to burn fat for the rest of the day, so you're burning calories. So I think that is when you're laying on the ground doing a bunch of crunches, hoping to get abs from that. So you're hoping to burn fat for the rest of the day when you haven't increased your heart rate at all. Not going to happen.
Not going to happen. And so that's why, when we look at, okay, what do I do to increase the visibility of my abdominal muscles or increase their strength? It really needs to be said that spot training and isolation training isn't going to be the way to get the biggest bang out of your buck because ultimately you not only want to strengthen those muscles, but you want to reduce the fat over them. So we've got to get you working at a high metabolic outtake so that the rest of your day you continue to burn fat and ultimately, your body fat percentage will decrease at the same time as your muscles in your abdominals get larger. And that is the combination that we're looking for. Not 80% what you eat and 20% in the gym. Like,
I think a lot of things that I hear too is, well, isn't a lot of that genetics, right? So genetics can play a role in everything that we do, every single thing that we do.
Well, it's what we are. Yeah. Everything that we are is genetics.
It's genetics.
So, that makes sense that it would play a role, of course.
Yeah, and I think a big one that Rachel uses all the time is that I call her trap queen because, like, Rachel can easily develop trap muscles. I don't. We do have the same parents.
Oh, yeah. Well, not the same genetics, of course, same parents, but I just happen to have these monster traps that are like literally bodybuilder status, and I don't do I don't do any isolation to them whatsoever.
Yeah.
But even just sort of naturally, they're larger than most other women.
Well, than me, for sure. And I'm like working really hard at them, and Rachel just like walks in with them. I'm like, what the hell? But genetics is always going to play a role. But let me just say this. That's also going to play a role in where you carry your fat. So that's individualized, but one isn't superior to the other. Like, I tend to carry more weight in my hips and ass than I do in my midsection.
Ditto.
That is just where like we tend to carry weight. So is it going to be a little bit harder for me to reduce my cellulite or like the extra fat that I'm carrying in my legs? Yeah.
Let me tell you.
Is it impossible?
No, it's not impossible, but let me tell you, it's much, much harder for me, I notice, to get rid of my double ass
like
than
pockets.
It is. Yeah, like the ass beneath the ass.
It's the second one.
I got the big one,
it's more
and then I got the little
more
one.
bang for your buck.
Well, So I find that is the last thing to go away for me. Whereas I don't hold a lot of weight in my stomach. So my abdominals are typically showing, but my double ass, that's hard. And that's just genetics. If I wanted to get down to a low enough body fat percentage, I'd be able to get rid of that eventually. But of course, at what cost? For me, I know that I'm not as obsessed with the aesthetic as, I once was when I was younger.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I'm not going to really live at an uncomfortable body fat percentage just to have one ass. I'll take the two. I mean,
and that's just going to apply for everyone who says like, I carry weight in my midsection. I've been working really hard. I'm down to a lower body fat percentage. I'm not showing any abs. They say, whoever they is, they say I should be, showing abs at this time or whatever it is. If you're carrying a little bit more weight there, if you're carrying your fat there, and you're not, say, in your legs, there's like super toned, just like, okay, well, it's going to be a little bit harder for you to lose that not that last percentage. That's not the last percentage on your body, I'm very sure.
No, let's please not, because you'll die.
Yeah.
Let's not lose the last percentage.
But that little bit that's covering your abdominal muscles, but you have them. We all have those muscles. They're holding your core together. So I think for a lot of people that say like, how do I get those? They're under there.
Abs are not made in the kitchen. They're made in utero. You don't
have them.
You don't have to make them in the kitchen in your stove. And I'm cooking some abs.
I'm cooking up abs today.
You already have abs. We're not making them anywhere. We're not making them in the gym. We're not making them in the kitchen. Your mama made them for you. You're super lucky because they protect your organs. But again, the more they are developed, just like any other muscle, the more your quads are developed, the larger they are, the more likely they are to show. And of course,
the less body fat you have covering your quads, the more likely they are to pop.
And I think that's a good point that you made too, that I think we really want to hit home, that anyone that tells you that there's a set body fat percentage that will automatically show abs, like if you get to 17% body fat, you will show abs. That is so misinformed, and it's not accurate at all, because it takes nothing into consideration about the individual person, about their genetics, about where they carry their weight. Me at 17% body fat, I'm going to have visible abs and a double ass. Someone else might have the most amazing ass ever and a non-visible abs. We're going to look different at 17% body fat. So there is no set percentage. There are no magical exercises, and there is no magical diet. It's just simply what's going to come with real health and wellness is
working together. Right. And I think that is the most important thing, is that you can't out-train a bad diet, but your abs aren't made in the kitchen either. So it's just like, we want a finger to point and say like, it's there. There's where I need to get my abs, or there's where I'm not getting them. It just doesn't work like that.
Well, I think that one of the things that we look at in when we were talking about why do you think this why does this myth perpetuate? Why do well-meaning trainers tell people that abs are made in the kitchen? Like, these are smart trainers.
Yeah.
These are people that are well-versed in the human body, and they're still saying this bullshit. And it's like, I think what it is that I think trainers want to really bring home the importance of nutrition. Like, they're really trying to punch it home.
Yeah.
And so they're taking something that they know is a coveted thing, which is visible abs that everybody wants. And they're saying, listen, if you really want this, I need you to hone in on your nutrition. Really what they're saying is, just don't eat like shit when you leave my session.
Yeah.
But I don't think that the way that they're translating that is actually effective, because then people think that unless they eat super squeaky clean,
yep,
and that, they can never have a treat in their whole life, that these abs are not an attainable thing, that they're made in the kitchen, and that it's just something that only people that are starving can have. That's just not true.
Oh, that gets me fired up.
I know it gets you fired up. I know, because we have seen when our trainers are available all day long, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in our Facebook group. And we're very visible to people. And we have seen people say to Kelsey, listen, you have great abs. You have an awesome body. I can see every single one of your abs individually. And that's awesome. But I don't want to be starving. And
oh man, guys, if you're listening to this podcast, never say that to someone.
Don't ever say that.
You know what? It's really hurtful. And you're pretending you have some insight into another person's life that you just don't. And like to insinuate that I'm starving because I have visible abs is crazy, because anyone who I believe all about balance, and I live a balanced life with, my workouts. Visible abs is not actually my goal. If it's yours, cool. That's on you, but that's actually not my goal. My core is always worked during my training sessions, not in specific core work. It's in every exercise, and being able to incorporate core muscles into everything you do because you need them. Yeah, like it's holding you together. It is your core. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But
you know what I think we should say too is this is a really interesting like case study into what we have learned from years in the fitness industry and doing the okay, when I was younger, of course, abs were the goal, and you always want to have abs. And I did an hour on the treadmill and then, an ab circuit routine to make sure that I was going to get those. And you did that too, I know, because we did it together.
Yep.
And we were going to go, on vacation, and we had to, oh boy, we got to get our abs for our bathing suit and really, really diet and watch our calorie intake. And we're going to be in a caloric deficit all the time so we can have those visible abs. And maybe it would be effective. Maybe it would be better to see. So why don't you come into our Facebook group? We're going to post a picture of our trainers before they learned about functional fitness and the importance of eating real nutritious food. It's like the calorie counting, the ab routine, and the treadmill. Mm-hmm. Abs, what that looked like. Here's a little hint. It didn't look like anything. It looked like a flat stomach with absolutely zero definition. That's what mine looked like.
Absolutely. I had absolutely no definition. I was in a big calorie deficit, definitely crash dieting.
Actually, then you were starving.
Yeah.
That's the ironic thing.
That's so ironic,
when you didn't have abs, you actually were starving.
Mm-hmm.
But now we can do the comparison photo, which now you probably eat, I would say, triple the amount of food that you were eating then. Is that a good triple?
Yeah. And when we make this podcast and when we started this podcast, we really were like, we have to get this information out there. And I just can't wait sometimes when I think back to my crash dieting, looking for those. I was at, my body fat percentage was lower and I wasn't showing any abs. And I was that person looking at this thing and saying those things always come out where if you have this percentage, this is what your stomach is going to look like. And I was like, well, shit.
Mine doesn't look like that.
Mine doesn't look like that, right? And then being at this low body fat percentage and trying so hard and still seeing no ab definition.
And being so hungry.
And being hungry. And I didn't have a strong core at all. And then coming to this place where, I have a really balanced life. I eat all of this food. I'm not in a calorie deficit. I'm not counting my calories every day. And, still have visible abs.
Well, now, before there was none.
Yeah.
But you didn't look like an athlete. You just looked like a skinny.
I wasn't an athlete.
No.
Then an athlete, but an athlete in a sense of can I do some pull-ups? Can I, and just thinking back to being that person. I just can't wait till, some of our listeners come to the other side of that and really hone in on this knowledge and take it for all that it is and just say that's not the life I want to live. I want a life where I'm strong. I'm not constantly counting my calories and looking for that lower body fat percentage, and I'm hungry and
how spending hours in the gym.
How much of a caloric deficit do I need to be in?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's such a different perspective when you realize that it's not really about working against your body and depriving your body, but it's about working with your body and giving your body all of the things that it wants, and it will look like. You know how when you treat something really nice, you walk into people's cars that they they really love their car and they treat it nice. That's not my car.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
No,
my car.
this is a great example.
No, but you know when you walk into someone's car who cares about it, you're like, oh damn, there's a new air freshener.
Yeah.
There's not a crumb anywhere. Mine is literally the complete opposite.
Yeah.
But it's like really nice. And you're like, oh wow, you care about your car. Things that you care about and treat nicely, they look that way. And you know what? If you deprived your car of gas and like never gave it any oil and just treated it like shit, and it wouldn't look nice, you know? And the abs are a byproduct in all the muscles, quads, biceps, all of them. They're all a byproduct of a healthy, happy body that is working at its peak capacity.
I love that. And it doesn't just, because like, I know everyone's obsessed with the abs, but like it doesn't just shine through in that way. I know some of the girls in our group who have been really surprised at what's happened to their hair, skin, nails, like all of those things. I know a girl specifically messaged me and was like, I can't believe the changes that I've seen in my skin from changing these eating habits that, you know, you've walked me through. And I'm like, yeah, it comes out. You know what I mean? Like everything just shines through when your body is happy
and well taken care
of. You know, your car runs better, right? Like,
sure does.
Your metabolism's running better. You're shinier. Like everything is better.
I think on that note, it would be a good idea to give our girls, our super fans, their opportunity at the Friday. Well, after this, we're going to give you some actionable tips to take to the gym if you do want to get on the ab train, and like start seeing more visible abs and get closer to those aesthetic goals. We've got some stuff for you to do in the gym, but before
the real stuff,
not like 50 million crunches and some Kardashians on the elliptical. But before that, I definitely want to give our girls a
discount code.
Okay, so we're going to give you a discount on the brand new, not released Friday leggings that no one knows about yet. And the discount code is
secret. It's secret.
Secret is your discount code. Go get your leggings on Friday and get a nice percentage off on us. And what should we do in the gym to get the aesthetic goal closer to getting those 6 beautiful abdominals that everybody is sought after?
Oh man, those 6 muscles.
So one of the things that I think, you know, when people come to me with that goal, and one of the first things I ask them is how frequently they're working out and how heavy they're lifting. So one of the things that I really want to point out as being very important is the abdominal muscles. Their primary focus and their goal in the body is as a stabilizer. So you don't really need to stabilize that much. Yeah.
Hell yeah. I love it. I love just like, because I think that's sometimes mind blowing for people is that they are your stabilizer. So if you're sitting there listening to this podcast right now and you're not engaging your core, sit up, girl. Sit up. These are your other 23 hours of the day that aren't in the gym. Sit up.
People you will see that have very developed abdominal muscles have great posture, and that isn't a coincidence. So they are stabilizing you every single second of every single day. They are literally holding your body together. Not those 6, but there's a combination of a lot of them. So what we want to talk about is when we're stabilizing something, are you really stabilizing with 8-pound weights? Do you know what I'm trying to say by that?
Depending on who you are, right?
Of course. Depending on your current ability level and everything. But I want you to challenge yourself to look at the fact that your handbag probably weighs 8 pounds.
Like, are you able to throw it around without stabilizing the rest of your body? I think that's what you're trying to get to, is that like it's hard when we're talking to a variety of people in all different places. You can't see them moving, but are you really like just picking something up, throwing it? Because I know when I pick up my bag or my sunglasses or whatever, I don't need to stabilize my core to do that. So I think it's really important that when you're looking at your weights, am I really having to stabilize right now?
Right. So what we would challenge you to is that, of course, and this is going to fit within your ability level, but we need to up the weights a little bit. Using the same 5-pound hand weights for 6 months at a time, it's just not asking your core to work work very hard because that's just not a very significant load for it. Despite what your current fitness level is, your body is made to do amazing things, and it can stabilize far more than 5-pound hand weights.
I mean, think about what it stabilizes all the time. If you have a toddler and you're picking your toddler up all the time, a lot of us see the mom hip when they put
Oh
their
my
kid
God, the
on
mom hip has destroyed my...
It's destroyed a lot of postures and a lot of hip alignments. We'll get into that. We're totally going to get into that, but the alignment issues that are happening there. But your core is looking to stabilize in all of those times. So like, how much does your kid weigh? How much does your dog weigh? I know, like, I took Carly to the vet yesterday, like getting her up on the table. I'm always thinking, I'm stabilizing right now.
Right,
all
because
of
that's
those little
heavy
things.
and she's squiggling around, and you need to brace your core in order to do that. So it's not really, when you think about all of those things that you do every day in real life, training with really, really, really light weights isn't really symbolizing what you're trying to do in real life. So let's talk about getting a little bit more weight on the bar, of course, depending on where you are, but thinking about really forcing those muscles to stabilize and making sure that you're being honest about the amount of times you're training in the week. If you have goals of visible muscles, whether it's quads, biceps, abs, it doesn't matter. You need to put in the time.
Yeah.
4 to 5 days a week is really where you need to be at if you have aesthetic goals like that.
Absolutely. And I think that being really honest about your core engagement has been something that I have personally noticed in a lot of places, is that, like, when we have people come in and they first get into a plank, what that looks like and what kind of engagement is going on there is very important. So a lot of times, see the butt up, the body is compensating in other ways, so it doesn't really need to fully engage those core muscles. That's a really important time to develop that. So like making sure those hips are rolled under, your core is completely engaged. When
the ribs are down.
Ribs are down. That's what we're looking for when, you're back squatting or front squatting. All of these things are stabilizing your core. So you're not needing to do just direct core work to build your core. You need to do a variety of movements for sure, but looking to stabilize and that core engagement for everyone. So a big thing that I notice is when people are front squatting, and you feel, a lot of people are going to be like, yep, that's me. You feel your elbows drift down. You feel your butt sit back. You feel your hips kind of roll under, and your core is not engaged. And you can feel that if you're listening to this podcast just sitting down, you can kind of like roll your hips under and feel how like your core lets go, as opposed to when you really roll it up, keep your chest up, your elbows are up nice and high, your core is completely engaged. So it's important while you're working out to figure out where you're losing that engagement and work to correct that.
That's a really great point. Is so much missed opportunity, I think. And that goes back to our episode on get off the machines, because, you only have that hour in the gym, and we want to maximize the amount that you're working that core. If you're really looking for abs, you shouldn't be sitting down at all during your gym session, right? Of course, because those abs are turned off. And we want to be doing functional exercises that are maximizing that core engagement and constantly thinking about it. Back squatting without thinking about tightening your core is a missed opportunity.
Absolutely. That brings up a lot of questions about a belt too, for our beginners that just started lifting, and they're like looking at, what do I need? I need a belt. This will help me stabilize. Like, eventually we can move on to like looking at belts and things like that. But originally you got your belt on. Your core is your belt. We need to make sure that is first able to handle the load that you're looking to put on the bar and able to stabilize before we look at anything else.
I think that the correct exercises, of course, are one of the biggest keys as well. So want to be looking at functional exercises that are really, really dependent on maintaining core stability, and try to limit sitting down, try to limit anything that is isolating the abdominals in an unnatural way. The abdominals they are the first go-to to stabilize in any lift. So back squats are for abs. Front squats are for abs. Overhead squats. Box jumps. I mean, think about this.
Push press.
You're literally...
Everything.
Push press. That's a great... Yeah. Anything overhead. You're literally not toppling over from the waist up because your abdominals are stabilizing. So as long as you are doing something weight bearing, even not weight bearing, pull-ups are an ab exercise. I mean, every single thing is dependent on you having a strong protected midline. So work those functional movements. Think about that core engagement and really think about putting some weight on the bar. Think about what you need to stabilize with your midline and how hard it's working, and challenge yourself with those weights. Don't stay at the same weights for, months and months at a time and hold back your progress there. Although they are so coveted and the be all end all of fitness, do understand that visible abs are a byproduct of great health and great fitness. And that is always the number one goal. If you have aesthetic goals of abs, I mean, who doesn't, right?
Well, I think you were going to say too
awesome.
about the moms. About the moms.
Oh, the moms, right.
Yeah,
moms.
Because I think moms are, you've gone through a lot of changes in your body, specifically in your midsection. Oh my
God, a lot of changes. That's an understatement.
Well, we have to say it quick, but just like looking at that, the damage that has been done.
So if you are concerned as a mom, despite how many children you've had or the way they've been birthed, there are challenges that come with being postpartum and the fact that there was only one muscle group that actually split down the middle in order for that to happen. Your quads didn't split down the middle, and neither did your biceps. You actually did have a real and very damaging thing happen to the abdominal muscles if you have grown a baby. They had to separate down the middle, and then they had to come back together, find their way back together. Where are you? Where are you? And heal correctly. Now, a lot of people are now realizing years later that they may have not healed their abdominals correctly. And we're going to have a whole entire episode on pregnancy, working out, postpartum, what that should look like, diastasis. I always say that wrong. Did I say it right? Diastasis. Because that is a real diastasis.
That's how the lady says it. Right. Everyone says it different. Whatever.
You know what I'm talking about. You got a hole in your abs. That's what I'm talking about. It's damage that has been done from the abdominals not healing correctly. And there are a number of tests that you can do to yourself to see if you might have diastasis. There are so many corrective exercises, and we're going to talk about those in another episode. But just know this, the abdominals are a muscle group that can be repaired. So if you have done damage to them, there is physical therapy, just as if you were to rip your bicep or strain your quad. There is always reparative things that we can do to get a muscle to running back at its as close to its normal functions. Obviously, there's been some trauma. I know it was, I remember at one point in my pregnancy, I could actually see my abs.
So weird.
On the opposite side, like they were misplaced, but I could see them through my skin. Like there was like 3 on the left and then 3 on the right.
Like the wrong direction. Like they had gotten in a big fight.
It was so weird. And then there was like a baby in the middle. Yeah. It was so weird. So believe me, I understand the damage and the weird shit that can happen, but we can repair those. So, if that is a concern of yours, we've got a future episode for you and get in on that. And in the meantime, get in our Facebook group, will ya?
Yeah, we're gonna give you some cool pics to kind of prove or back up or give you a visual, I guess, of some of the things that we're talking about, and hopefully this was helpful for you. The next time you talk to your trainer and they tell you that abs are made in the kitchen, you can
punch them in the face?
No, don't punch them in the face, but
too much.
Continue to spread the knowledge and tell them why, because we want to arm you with this knowledge so that you are the ones that can share it.
And so that you can be successful. Yeah. Because that message being spread, abs are made in the kitchen. How many people have abs? Yeah. Very, very small percentage of the population. So if that was the truth, wouldn't everybody just do it?
Cook them up? Wouldn't everyone cook them up, Rich?
30 seconds till my abs are done. Ding. Oh, they're gorgeous. So get in our Facebook group, check out our visuals for this, and don't forget to rate and review and subscribe to the podcast. But most importantly, Friday. Don't forget to check out constantlyvariedgear.com and see what the secret leggings are. I think you're going to love them.
I'm going to love them. I can't wait to be able to wear them.
You know what, Kelsey? You should never leave one wolf alive because the sheep will never be safe. Have a great week, girls.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening to the Thick Thighs Save Lives podcast. If you'd like to join our movement, head over to the Facebook group and take part in our free weekly workouts for a chance to win some badass gear. Search Fitness Programming by CVG on Facebook. We're in there every day. It's a perfect place to get in touch with us. This podcast is made possible by Constantly Varied Gear, so be sure to check out constantlyvariedgear.com. See you next week. Crush your goals.